Sorry, I'm not opening a White Claw. This is just my sparkling water.
This is dry. Yeah, good. Wait till it comes back to me. Check one, check two. Hey, I'm Adam Katz for DogTrainerToolbox.com and the Dog Trainer Marketing Group on Facebook. Today I've got a special guest, Lianne Shinton of
I know, right? Pet biz
Pet Biz Express.
experts.
Pet Biz Experts.
Pet
Sorry.
I'm
You were
thinking of a
talking about
name
changing the
change.
name. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. So I wasn't sure
yes.
if you had changed the name.
But
Um,
pet biz experts,
Pet
yes.
Biz Experts, which is my favorite CRM. And we're gonna talk more about that later because I think it's a extremely valuable tool. In fact, I think it's like one of the best investments you can make for your dog training business. And I'm gonna tell you more why and why I recommend Lianne and her service, even to my own financial detriment, because it's the best thing that you guys can do for your dog training business. We are going to be talking first about 5 stupid mistakes that dog trainers make with their dog training business. And we've each got our own list. So we're gonna do one and then the other one, go back and forth and have a little discussion about each one. So do you wanna start with your first?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is kind of a fun game to see which ones we find are the same, because we're kind of coaching and helping dog trainers, so we're able to see a lot. Um, the number one on my list is failing to track leads and following up. And I know that was a huge pain point for me when I had my dog training business for 39 years now, I think. And I was always finding that my leads were coming in through my Google Voice number, my Gmail, Facebook Messenger, I mean, just all over the place. So that was a big pain point for me. And I think a lot of dog trainers. And just like, oh, how did Joe reach out to us? I've got to message him. Oh, he came in through Facebook. So you're checking, all of these different places. And then follow up was just non-existent. That was definitely something that I was busy. I mean, as dog trainers, it's sometimes difficult to find time to even take a shower. So, you know, finding time, but also for me, I get kind of like a little stressy, even though they reached out to me. They want dog training, but I'm kind of like, the people that were on the Titanic that didn't want to leave their room because they didn't want to be rude. And I'm afraid to be rude. I'm afraid to, I get a little stressed about that. So
You're a little
that was
Canadian.
yeah, that was it. And I'm, a little anxiety about following up. I'm like, sorry, I know you were interested in my dog training. Like, I don't want to bother you. And so that was kind of a sissy thing that I had. And I would follow up maybe once or twice and, fizzle out. So that was my journey with the leads. And I've talked to lots of dog trainers that have similar different journeys. They have Excel spreadsheets and things they're trying to, manually work from. But that's definitely a pain point. And some I don't think follow up with leads at all because I definitely hear a lot where people call our dog training business and say, so and so never got back to me. So that's definitely one. Do you have that
Yeah.
one on your list?
So tell me a little bit more about that, because I think there's probably a lot of people watching this at home thinking, well, if I call them back once or maybe even twice, but I leave a message and then they don't get back to me, maybe that just means they're not interested enough. They don't make a good client. I don't want to bother. So why is it important to follow up with the leads?
Um, well, just like if I'm shopping for something, when I have that moment in time or it's that pain point that's in my head, I want to make sure that that information is accessible to me. So I definitely think it's so important. They've reached out, so it's justified to follow up. I think for, business owner, dog trainer, it's good to follow up through email, through a phone call, through a text message. So different channels that might reach them. And one of the things that I find too is like none of us like to talk on the phone. We hate when people call, we hate being on the phone. We're like, oh, this is probably going to take 25 minutes, So we've got a feature in our CRM where we have like a ringless voicemail drop. So you pre-record like a generic, like, hey, this is Lianne from IQ Canine Training, just following up. see if you had any more questions about our dog training needs
That's
or your
awesome.
dog training. And so I would just automate that.
Mhm.
So, they would get their phone and be like, I didn't even see it ring. I have a message. How did that happen? But it works, and it gets people calling back. That's definitely one of the big features.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I think it's from just a financial dollars and cents perspective. If you're running ads, if you're even if you're not running ads, but you're spending your time to get people, new clients to new prospective clients to call you, or to show interest or to fill out a form or something. A lot of times they'll fill out, like on Facebook, for example, they'll fill out the form, but maybe they're at work, right? And so they can't pick up the phone right then and there. And you know how it is, even with friends, sometimes you play phone tag and you call them and they don't pick up right away. You call them back. There's that
Definitely.
that that thing happens, just it's a byproduct of modern life. And um so if you just call like once or twice and then just let it go, you're literally like leaving so much money on the table. I mean, you might be making 80% more than you would be making otherwise, just because you're not following up with your leads. So I agree that's extremely important. All right, we'll get to the next one. My first one on my list is dog trainers who start out and they're undercapitalized. So, um, I think that you absolutely can, and I have bootstrapped my way into the business. I've owned three dog training businesses over the past 30 some years, and you can, especially if you're living with mommy and daddy initially, and then you build up your business while you're maybe working another job, and you do the dog training in the evenings or on the weekends. But it's so much easier and it's so much less stress if you have 6 to 12 months worth of living expenses already set aside, plus investment capital. It doesn't mean to be a lot, but $5,000 to $10,000 maybe that you can invest into advertising and marketing and promoting your business, and especially the cost of living cushion when you're first starting out, because you don't want to have to take every dog that comes through the door. Sometimes they're abusive people and you don't want to work with them. Sometimes they're maybe dangerous dogs and you don't want to be in a position of having to sign a client because you need the money. You want to be in a position of signing a client because you think you can really help them and their dog and the owner is the best fit for you in your dog training program. And by having a financial cushion and not being undercapitalized, you're able to do that. So that's my number one. What's your number two?
Oh, I just wanted to add to that too, like for, starting a dog training business for someone that's just starting out, your your website's going to take like 6 months for it to, optimize on Google, and then you still got to climb up to the first page. So you kind of have to run ads to get in front of people. You don't have the word of mouth, you don't have a lot of those things that are already established. So I definitely think running ads is absolutely necessary when you're starting out, also if you're moving. And that was when we ran ads with you and we were moving from part of San Diego to a different part, but it was, an hour. So it was a whole different market. And so we ran ads for the
Mhm.
first while. I think we ran ads when we first moved to San Diego, and then ran ads again when we moved to the Fallbrook area. And yeah, because we, we don't know what the website's going to do optimization wise, and we need to be in front of people. And this day and age, I mean, the web is so critical.
Right, right. And also even if you are able to get great SEO, I think it's important to invest some of your money into some of your revenue into paid advertising and just test, different platforms to see what works for you. And you can always, shut it off and turn it on back later. But what I've seen so many times over the years is that people rank really well on Google. They're kicking butt. They've got all these leads coming in and they're free leads and it's great. And their Google business profile is sending them leads. And then something happens. The algorithm changes. They get Google spanked and suddenly they're on page 10. Or somebody new who's better funded comes into the market and they throw a lot of money at their SEO and at their organic and content marketing and all this stuff. And suddenly you're going down in the rankings and the phone stops ringing. So I don't look at organic and SEO as being a foundational piece of of a well-run business, I see it as being like the gravy, not the meat and potatoes. So,
I agree. I definitely agree. And like you said, not all the eggs in that basket because we see businesses where their my Google business profile gets taken down.
mhm.
Their Yelp, you know, gets affected. So
Or look at TikTok.
definitely, yeah,
Like
yeah,
talking about doing away with TikTok, and if 100% of your marketing is TikTok advertising, and suddenly they decide to ban TikTok, or we go to war with China, or who knows what, right? Kind of nice not
yep,
to have, like you said, all your eggs in one basket.
absolutely.
So what's number two?
Number two on my list is overlooking the customer experience. So, like having a finger on the pulse, neglecting the little things like clear communication, timely updates, a welcoming atmosphere. With us, it was hot. In the summer, they would come into our facility. We had a nice little office. We'd give them a water, and it's that power of reciprocity.
Mhm.
But things like that, making sure they're comfortable, reading the room, if they're checking their watch and the kids are stressing them out, like move things along, like, just really taking care of that experience because if it's not great, then it leads to negative reviews and you're not going to get the word of mouth, like repeat clients and things like that.
I love that you mentioned giving them a bottle of water because that plays into, like you mentioned, the law of reciprocity. If you read Robert Cialdini's book, Influence, which is like every marketer's Bible, he talks about academic studies that they did in several different environments. And basically, what they found was that if you give somebody a small gift, that in most sane people, they will feel this urge, this pull to want to reciprocate. And the interesting that they found was that it's not one for one. So you might give them a 25-cent bottle of water, and now they feel like reciprocating by signing up for your $4,000 dog training program. So there's all kinds of, the deeper down the rabbit hole that you get with this marketing and psychology and persuasion. And again, it's not about selling something to people that don't need what you're offering. It's not that. It's about helping people get what they need, but sometimes they need a little bit of a push, or they need to be persuaded that you're the best option rather than Joe down the street. So, so yeah, great point, and thanks for bringing that up. My number two is selling dog trainers thinking that they're going to sell packages of lessons rather than programs. Have you found that, or did like that point kind of make sense to you from the beginning with your dog training business?
Meaning, like you have a package where you have your 6 lessons and all your equipment included versus selling and making them pay one by one.
Yeah, well, the package being, yeah, being individual lessons, or a package of 3 lessons or something versus selling a program. In my mind, when you sell a program, they may be getting a certain number of lessons, but you're not selling them the number of lessons. You're selling them the benefits of what they're getting. So,
The
if
results.
the results, our off-leash program or our on-leash companion dog program. And by the end of this program, your dog's going to be able to sit down, come, heel, stay, walk on a loose leash, whatever it may be, right? And typically it takes 4 lessons or 6 lessons. But listen, Mrs. Jones, I don't want you to worry about the number of lessons. That's just kind of an average. If you need an extra lesson or two, that's perfectly fine as long as you're willing to put in the effort, or willing to put in the effort to meet you halfway. But I can tell you that most dog owners with their dogs can typically get these results within, whatever it is, four or 5 lessons. So the reason that you do that, that's important in my mind anyways, is that if you're selling packages of individual lessons, what happens is you're limited as to how much you can charge. So I can charge $1,000 for 3 private lessons if my methods and my technique and my program can deliver XYZ results. Whereas if I sell it to them as 3 1-hour lessons, how much can I charge for 3 hours? Maybe $100
Yeah.
an hour. But I could sell a 3 lesson program plus access to our group classes, which they get for a year. I can sell that for $1,000, and most of them don't even come to the group class because they've gotten most of their needs met. So in effect, I'm getting maybe $200 to $300 per hour when you break it down that way because you're selling it as a program rather than a package. My terminology may be different, but you get the point.
Yeah, I get it. And it's definitely making me think the wheels are turning because one of the things that I always try to consider is I want to provide a program or a package or, a program, the results that the client's looking for. So I sign them up for maybe our 14-day program, and it includes the off leash. That's what they want. That's what most people want. So maybe you can give me feedback on this. Like our 7-day program, even though we can teach the come command in that time, get the long line out and, e-collar and marker words and rewards and make it fun and running and all the things, we could definitely focus on it. But I would rather, make $3,000 than $1,500. So we keep our 7-day a little bit more limiting where we don't include the come command because we really want to get them into that bigger program. But I like what you're saying, where we could just actually go right to the come command, but you're going to pay top dollar for it because you're getting my expertise.
Yeah, I mean, you're what the way that you package it, it sounds like you were doing more board and trains, whereas I was doing predominantly private lesson programs.
Yeah.
But the main takeaway, I mean, with the board and trains, you don't really have to worry about the issue of you're not selling really packages, you're really selling programs. It's just that one program is whatever it is, 7 days, the other one's 14 days. So it's less of an issue, I think, if you're doing board and trains versus private lessons. But definitely if you're offering private lesson programs, it's much better to again sell the results, not sell the number of sessions.
Yeah, I'm very big on efficiency, but and I know that we could get right to the come command. We could start it on the first day, I get that, but for as a business owner, I definitely think like having that in a bigger package because there's so much value there. Now their
Oh,
dog has
agree.
freedom. He can run around, be a dog. They can
Right.
call him off of things. So that being said, too, I talk to a lot of dog trainers and, offer my experiences. And, we have not taught a down command, in a program for 20 years. And that was just something that, it was more challenging, more stress on the dog in some cases. And, not every dog, but it's a little bit more challenging. And so we just stopped teaching it. And the owners, they never ask ever. They're like,
Interesting.
where's my down command? So that was one that we got rid of, but we substituted it for the place command. So go to your bed.
Right.
So we fancy that up. We have them go to their bed or go to a yoga mat or a towel, which is kind of more advanced. And the owners were feeling more value of getting that. I can just bring my little yoga mat over to my friend's house, put it down, and my dog will stay there versus the rigid, like down command where they can't like roll and move and stuff like that. So that just seemed to be a better fit and it saved us a lot of time and it was just easier for the dogs too. In a lot of cases you get some dominant dogs and you're like, no, you got to lay
Yeah.
I they
Yeah.
look up at you and it's like I
You're
don't really want
forcing
to
a
put my
you're forcing a conflict. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't really want to put staff in that scenario if I don't have to. And another one to simplify our programs that I found that the owners didn't need was the auto sit. So we can ask the dog to sit when we're healing, but we
Nobody
don't have
cares.
to.
Yeah.
They stand, nobody cares. They lay down, nobody cares. But that sit, they can really only hold a sit for like 3 minutes. It's not fair past that. So they want to lay down, then you're correcting them, and nobody wants to do that. It's like, who
Right.
cares? So we
Right.
can get more like turns and lefts and rights and things like that, and just really like make our jobs easier, make the owners happier because it's less rigid,
Mhm.
and add more value into the programs, the bigger programs by adding something simple like go to my towel, just as a place command and just really working harder on the come command, working harder on like the leash walking and things
Mhm.
like that, instead of spending and spreading yourself thin and working all these other commands that they don't really care.
Right. Right. Yeah, my thought process was I wanted there to be a basic level of competency, and everybody's definition of that is different. But once they walked out of my facility and they're wearing the t-shirt from my company, I wanted the dogs to know X, Y, Z, and that's going to be different for every dog trainer. But I did find that when I would list it out, it was almost like you'd see this light bulb go off above their head, like, oh wow, my dog could do that. And like, wow, I could have the dog lie down for 2 to 3 hours and stay down on his place command or on a downstairs, whatever it would be. Again, fill in the details as you wish. It's your business. You figure out, what you want to teach, what you don't want to teach. But the main takeaway that I was trying to get to was simply that if you are doing private lesson programs, don't package things where they can do the math in their head, because if they can figure out that, hey, holy crap, like this breaks down to like $250 an hour. I don't even pay my doctor that. But if you can package those lessons into a program where you're selling them the results rather than the number of sessions, then you can charge whatever you want. So it works much better. Anyways, enough of my yapping. What's your next one?
The next one on my list, yeah, we got off in the weeds a little bit there, but hopefully it helps somebody with,
Hopefully
charging
somebody's
what they're
still
worth.
watching. Yeah.
And my next one is actually related to that. It's just not charging what they're worth. So underpricing services to attract clients.
That was actually my next one too. So let's get at it.
Yeah, that's just undervaluing, and people may not take you as seriously if you don't charge what you're worth. Um, so I definitely think that is something that I commonly see, and I'm not sure why dog trainers are undercharging. Maybe it's a confidence thing,
It's definitely a confidence thing.
maybe more schooling, get out to, and get in front of other trainers. Like one thing I've always done is I surround myself with the best of the best. Like
Hmm.
I'm an overachiever, type A personality. So if I want to, compete in a sport or run a business, I'm all in, and I surround myself with people that are better than me so
Right.
that I can continue to learn.
And ideally, you want to attract those kind of clients too. You don't want to attract the bottom of the barrel cheapest, clients. And one of the things that I hear all the time, not all the time, but frequently enough, is that, oh, I want to be a more affordable option so that people who can't afford as much, have an option. Well, you know what? Number one, it's presumptuous to think that, lower income people somehow can't buy the things that are important to them. I've had people come in from basically walk out from the hills with no shoes on and holes in their sweaters, and somehow they scrape together the money because rich or poor people and find the money and spend money on what's important to them. That's why I'm a millionaire, and a lot of my clients who weren't millionaires would be driving fancier and nicer cars than I drive. And still to this day, I see people come and, hire somebody to work on my house, a handyman or something, and he's driving a $70,000 truck. I'm driving a $12,000 Lexus. 15 years old. But again, the point being, people will come up with the money to spend on things that they want. That's why you see, people in the
Absolutely.
bad part of town with, $5,000 rims and $3,000 car stereos, because they spend money on things that they want. And it's your job as a dog trainer to position yourself. You don't want to be Kia, you want to be Mercedes. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really important. You're not doing anybody any services by being a lower price. What's happening is you're cutting yourself short because you're not going to be able to reinvest in your business and in your lifestyle, and you deserve that. So, it's the market that determines what you can charge. So you find that sweet spot by market testing your price point, and you keep increasing it until you start getting market pushback, right? Because we want to help the widest number of people that we can. And the market feedback will tell you that, not some arbitrary, oh, I think I should be charging this much, or Dave down the street is charging this much and I want to undercut him. Compete on value, don't compete on price.
And it's an image thing too, or it's how you present yourself, your image.
Right.
So your website, you want it to be like a Target website, not a Walmart website. um you want to wear your shirts and advertise and look professional
Mhm.
and act professional. and have professional content on your Facebook pages and, all of that, your emails, everything looks very professional. Your logo, everything comes together so that you present yourself as like, the Target of dog trainers, the Lexus of dog trainers. I love Targets.
What? You said
I
you like
love
Target? You
Target.
got Target? Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
a Target. I love Walmart too. So I'm a very frugal person. But I do know that, you're like you said, even if they don't have the money, they'll find the money. We lived next to Camp Pendleton in San Diego, and a lot of Marines, and they've got the nicest cars and they spend, the big bucks on the dog training. It's
Mhm.
like, how do you have all the money? Um, so yeah, definitely something there. And there's payment plans too. Like with our CRM, people can utilize some of the different payment plan services because they still want that service. And I think too, it's always good to have like a really high-end package for those people that are like, well, okay, I can come Friday. I've just got to fly in on my jet. And that's what they want. They
Yeah.
just want the best. So you may have a $10,000 package they sell twice a year, but how cool is that?
Love it. Love it. That was actually going to be my next point, which was, running it like a business. Um, but I think you kind of nailed it. So I'll turn the table back over to you. What's your next point?
The next one on my list is lack of a clear marketing strategy. So like some groomers, some dog trainers, they don't need a website. That's what I hear. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like you're not, I don't understand. So relying on word of mouth, relying on your Facebook is like your sole like, method of marketing is a scary thing. Kind of what we were talking about earlier. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, but you've got to put yourself out. Some people who have businesses, they don't have a logo. I don't need a logo. I don't understand that. I think
Mm.
that, to be professional and it's just kind of understood. It's just a blanket understanding that businesses, they have a business name, it's registered, you have a logo. And I think too, like we live in our RV, so we travel around and I have to find a hairdresser or a dentist or something like that. So I go looking and I find, on Google Maps, and then I look and they don't have a website or they don't have reviews and things like that, that I'm looking at all of that and making
Mhm.
a decision on where I'm going to book. So definitely a lack of a clear marketing strategy and just winging it and hoping for the best.
Yeah, I think that a lot of dog trainers need to make a decision as to whether or not they want to have a dog training hobby or a dog training business. And here's a newsflash, you can have both. You can pursue dog training as a hobby, doing splash dogs or dog dogs or Schutzhund or AKC whatever in your free time. But when it comes to your dog training business, you're running a business, and that includes all the things that for those of you watching at home, all the things that Lianne just mentioned, because it comes together and it forms there's almost like an image, like a story that comes about when you've got all of your pistons firing, and running it like a business is what's going to provide for you and your family. Now, I know there's some people out there who don't do any of that. They're like, well, I'm successful and I've been in business for 50 years and I've never once run an ad and I've never blah blah blah. Yeah, that's fine. If you want to be a sole proprietor, an individual. You don't really have a business though. You have a job that you own, and as soon as you stop working that job, the income stops coming in. As soon as you break your leg or you have an illness, the income stops coming in. As soon as somebody else moves in who's a little bit more aggressive and does things a little bit better than you do, you don't have the systems and the lead generation and the programs in place to fall back on. You're not testing, what your price point should be. Again, if you run it like a business, the business will take care of you. It'll take care of your family. And it's not just winging it. It's getting better at what you do. Why? Because it helps you become a better dog trainer as well. I mean, if you're organized, if you have goals, if you have, you know, you know you're at A and you want to get to B, like you would with your dog when you're training your dog. It's the same thing with your business. How can I set things up to make it easier for the dog to understand? How can I set things up to make it easier for the clients to understand, make it easier for the clients to sign up and to pay, make it easier for the clients to learn the techniques? All of that comes about because you approach it like a business. Boy, I'm just on my soapbox and can go and go and go. What's the next point?
Well,
Have you got?
I actually I'd love to add to that because like I said, I have I'm a creative thinker. I'm always thinking of ideas, and whenever, we're building our business, we need to think in terms of selling it. So you want to create something
I
that
love that.
is they can, someone will come in and see value. Okay, there's a website, they've got the reviews, they got the Yelp page, and everything is very systemized there. So I think that's important. And even if you're not at that space and you're not thinking, well, I'm going to sell my dog training business yet, think about like it, maybe not making that money. Maybe you're not worried about that. But what about your clients? If you decide I'm going to move, I've moved many times. I was living in Canada and then Vegas and San Diego, and now I just live on the road. So you want to have options. And so if you end up moving, you sell your dog training business, who's going to take care of your clients? Maybe you have clients that still need support and help. They get, old clients get new puppies and things like that, and they want to have somebody to go to. So establishing your business so that you can turn it over to somebody, and it's probably going to be one of your amazing staff members. That's what we did. And she's running our business to this day. And it's just such a good feeling knowing that I can trust that she's taking such good care of our clients.
Right, right. And even with like ad campaigns, if you get an ad campaign dialed in and it's bringing you 60, 70, 100 leads a month, that goes into the whole package of what you can then sell. I sold my third, I've run three dog training businesses. I've sold the third one to someone who had been a client. And they were, there was no having to figure it out. Everything, the systems were in place, the ads were running, the leads were coming in, and so what you're doing is you're building an asset rather than just having a job by word of mouth reputation. And I don't think also, when you get to that point, and I understand most of you are probably in your 20s and 30s, but when you do get to that point where you're maybe in your 50s or 60s, and it's time to move on, having everything systematized and with a policy and a procedure in place, and t-shirts and logos and all of that, you have something that you can sell. Even if you want to give it to your kids, you're actually giving them a full program, if you will. Anyways, um, really good stuff. My last point, we kind of already touched on this, is the lead follow-up. And that really leads into the question of how do I follow up with leads? And I'm going to tell you what I've heard from a lot of my clients. At a bare minimum, you get a lead that comes in. Now, maybe they call you and they leave a message, or maybe you're running like Facebook lead ads, which if you want to learn more, head on over to dogtrainertoolbox.com and click on the box that says Adam runs Facebook ads. You can learn more about my program. But predominantly now what I'm doing is I'm running what's called a Facebook lead ad. And what that means is that they click on the ad and then there's a form that pops up and they enter their name and their email and their phone number and maybe answer a question or two about what type of dog training program they're interested in. And so the dog trainer then gets that's called a lead, gets that lead. Well, a lot of times when people fill that out, maybe they're at work and they can't talk on the phone right then and there. So while it is really important that you call them back as soon as you possibly can, some people, a lot of people actually, will not be able to pick up the phone, even though they just submitted the lead form. So you have to plan for that. And the best way to do that is to have a lead follow-up sequence. The most common lead follow-up sequence is that they follow up on day 1, day 3, and day 5 with a phone call, an email, and a text. Day 1, day 3, and day 5. And then on day 2 and day 4, if you don't want to call them, which you probably should, but on day 2 and day 4, you follow up with at least an email and a text. Okay, and then by day 5, if you still haven't been able to get in touch with them, you leave a message that says something along the lines of, "Hey, this is the last time I will be contacting you. You reached out to us for the free consultation, evaluation, and temperament test. I want to make sure that you get it before we increase the price back up to its normal price of $89. So please call me back within the next 24 hours so that we can get you scheduled into our calendar. And that, for the people who haven't made the effort to get back to you, is typically a good kick in the tush to get them off their butt and calling you back. So you need this sequence. And what I recommend for a lot of that is because it's a lot of work. If you're not going to hire a virtual assistant or an in-person assistant, you can automate a lot of that by using what's called a help me out, a CRM. It stands for what?
Well, yeah, I mean, CRM, customer relationship management, or SaaS, software as a service. So those are kind of two terms that float around in our world. And yeah, you can automate that. It's amazing. One of the automations that is my favorite, and it seems kind of like whatever now because I'm so used to it, but it's the missed call text back. So we're dog trainers and we're busy. We can't answer the phone because there's a dog barking over there, so we can't answer it. What do we do? And that's where the missed call text back comes in. So in that text back, our system, for example, we can assess if it's a lead. We can assess if they've never done any kind of consultation with you. Like it's smart enough to know that. And so the missed call text back would fire off and say, hey, this is Lianne from IQ Canine Training. I saw that I just missed your call. How can I help you and your pup today? In the meantime, feel free to book, a chat with me. I'd love to talk to you. And here's my link. If they're a customer or they've already done that initial like chat with me, then they would just get, hey, how you doing? How can I help? So I think that missed call text back is a way to immediately follow up. I think too, if they call and they get that voicemail greeting, um, if you have the missed call text back, you can kind of say like, thank you for reaching out to IQ Canine Training. We're here to help. Sorry we missed your call. We're going to get back to you right away. We can say that because we have the missed call text back. And so now they're not expecting to hear back 24 hours from now, or, they're going to get something right away. But you have to understand too, some people have a landline, like my mom. And so the missed call text back won't fire because obviously it's a mobile device thing. So do consider that. But I think that voicemail greeting is really important. Everybody should, be rechecking their voicemail greeting. How can I make that better? How can I breathe like a smile into it when I record it? Have the missed call text back so that you don't lose those leads. And yeah, I think the big thing with lead management in general is a lot of people come to us and they hear, oh my gosh, you've got like conversational AI, you've got voice AI and all this stuff. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. What's your process right now? Like we need to see what you got going on. And a lot of business owners, they don't even know like how their leads are coming in, where they're going, what to do, how the follow-up works. They're over here like training dogs and they don't know what's going on. So for us to automate it, it's just going to be a hot mess. So we really have to work together to get them and the system to work together. It's just like if I gave you an e-collar and I'm like, here's a brand new e-collar, you're not going to have a Mondio Ring 3 dog and be on the world team, next week. There's a lot of learning that goes into it. And that learning is important because people get really frustrated with e-collars, with technology, because they don't understand it. But once you understand it, you can grow your business. You can have an amazing dog, whatever that technology is giving to you. Once you get knowledge, then you have freedom, you have success with that tool.
All right, so
You kind of got to,
let me tell you guys why I send Leanne a lot of clients to use the CRM software solution that she runs. Because of this, there's a lot of CRMs you can choose, a lot of different price points. And if you do your research, one of the best ones is called High Level or Go High Level. Sometimes you see it referred to as Go High Level. The reason it's so good is it was designed by marketers. And it has all of the cool bells and whistles and features that anyone would ever need. The problem is like me personally, I'm a big idea guy. I'm a concept guy. I don't like the technical, getting my hands dirty and how all the software and stuff works. So what Leanne's done is she's built a CRM solution on top of high level. So she's used it as a platform, and then she's customized it specifically for the dog training industry. And she's built out follow-up sequences so that you don't have to become an expert on that. She's already the expert, and she can help get everything set up for you and run it for you for a very affordable fee. Now, here's the kicker. Here's the thing. I don't really get paid. I get paid peanuts for referring this. She basically buys me dinner and a cheap bottle of wine. Whereas if I just sent you to high level through my affiliate code, they'd pay me like $77 a month every month that you're a member. Leanne buys me a pizza and a cheap glass of wine. So it's not that I'm not getting compensated well for recommending this. I'm recommending this to you guys because I think it is the absolute best service, and you need it. You need it once you're past that initial handful of months initially and you've got some money coming in, you need to reinvest in your business. And this is one of the things that you really need to do because it automates like 75% of the lead follow-up sequence so that you're not having to, make all the calls and send all the text and do all the emails and all this stuff and then know how to write the copy that goes into those follow-up sequences. It's all done for you at a very affordable, for a very affordable amount of money. So definitely you can look into it at dogtrainertoolbox.com. Scroll through and you'll see a box that says, I can't remember what it says, something in regard to CRMs or pet biz experts or something along those lines. She may change the name at some point. So, but you'll be able to figure out which one it is. And then there'll be a link inside that you can go to schedule with Leanne. But again, I'm not, even if she didn't pay me any money, don't tell her this, okay, guys? But even if she didn't pay me money, I'd still be referring this because I honestly think it's the best solution out there. I've worked with, some of her people in terms of like I host several websites for dog trainers. Sometimes we have to work together to get her her CRM solution to integrate with the website. Super easy to work with. The clients that I've talked to that I've referred to, they all love her because she does a good job. I think a big part of it is that she had her own dog training business. So she knows, she's been there, done that, and she knows what you guys are going through. Whereas if you go through HoneyBook or one of these other solutions, they're like I was using one years ago that it was made for the guys who developed it it was a house cleaning business. And they developed it around that industry and then kind of rolled it out to other industries. And it was an okay solution, but I had to handwrite all of the follow-up sequences. And like, are you a copywriter? Have you A/B tested this stuff? You probably haven't. You're probably a dog trainer. So it's like just go with Leanne's solution. It takes care of so much of it. It takes so much off your plate. I'm obviously a convert at this point, even though I'm only walking away with a cheap bottle of wine and a crummy pizza. It's the right thing to do because it's the right solution for you. Um, I'm going to turn the table back over to you. You're probably red in the face because I'm embarrassing, but tell me just high level, real quick, and then we'll finish this chat off. What would you say are maybe the top three main primary benefits that somebody gets by going with you rather than maybe going with just high level themselves or some other solution?
Oh, just high level themselves. I mean, it's a fantastic platform, but you get the bare bones. So you have to build everything, you have to write everything. It's just getting your phone compliancy set up, like the A2P compliancy. You don't want to deal with all that. We definitely have one person, they came, they did a strategy session with me, and then went away for a bit. Ended up, he got high level, 2 months, was able to get nowhere. So he lost 2 months of his business becoming more efficient, making more money, closing
Right.
more sales. And he paid, a cheaper rate directly to high level, the $100 or whatever it is, and then came to us. And, so that, and he's not a tech savvy person at all. So you definitely you need to have a flow already. We work with you so that we could figure out what your flow already is. It's not like, here's the system and you have to conform to the system. We're going to meet you in the middle. We're going to create a system that's done for you, but also done with you, because we need to understand your process. Maybe it's a three-step closing process where the lead comes in. Maybe you have a VA that's answering those phones, booking for a discovery call, and then they come into your facility for the evaluation. Maybe you're driving right to the home for the evaluation. That's your starting point. Like, we work with you because every area is different and every business is different. So we're here to strategize with you, but we're here to help. So that
And what if, so let's say I'm a dog trainer and I don't know what you're talking about when you're talking about, processes or systems or, the lead flow, how to, any of that kind of stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, would this still work for me? It sounds a little bit maybe overwhelming at first blush. So, I'm thinking that, I'm a dog trainer. I know I need an automated system to help me out with this because I'm getting too many leads and I don't want to spend half my time. I want to be my highest and best use is out there selling. I want this to be taken care of. Is that something that I can just kind of come to you and then you can help, you can kind of give me like a default. This is what most dog trainers use. This would be good for your business?
one question I would ask is, like, can you download an app on your phone?
Yeah.
You'll probably be okay then. But that's
Okay.
with our support. So we have a really good like onboarding course, and we hold your hand, and some more than others. Some of our clients have already come from high level systems. They were, with another agency, and then they end up with us. So it's a very easy migration. Or,
Right.
you can talk terms and missed call text back and pipelines and stuff. And they're like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But for others, we have to spend more time. So we have a team of three of us that do coaching and training on the system. So it's
Awesome.
kind of like dog training, where we need to train in phases. You don't get like a newborn puppy and you start training, your jumps and your retrieve and all this stuff for your level 3 Mondio ring. You got to get that puppy and work with them and nurture them and move them along. So we move you along in the system in phases. So just getting all your leads in one place is like the number one thing. Just organizing them. So your Facebook leads, your Instagram, Google business profile, your phone calls, emails, everything's coming in, contact form, chat widget, everything's coming into one place. And we also get you with a missed call text back, because we're dog trainers. We miss calls. That's what we do.
Right. Right.
So just those as like a baby program for like $200 a month, you're going to have a good basic program, and you'd be rocking. But if you want like the nurture, the automated nurture, which is, when I ask people, I'm like, what's your favorite thing that we offer? They always say the nurture. And a big part is the no sale nurture. So you do an evaluation of a dog, you don't sell it. No, I got to talk to my wife. You put them in our no sale nurture, it's going to continue to follow up with them. Like, hey, it was great chatting with you, and so on. And that is a huge post eval converter. So that one is a big one that most dog
Yes.
trainers miss. Like, I didn't sell it. I guess we didn't sell it. That's that. No, those usually convert with our nurture. And I mean, we're selling like a 3 dog board and train, things like that. So it's
Wow.
like a
So
lot of money.
what percentage would you say that of those that don't sell right at, when you do the consultation, they go home and they want to talk to the wife or the husband. What percentage of those across clients typically end up selling then?
I don't want to give you an inaccurate number, but I know for us, I'd have to go look it up, but I know for us, it was a huge converter. Because we stopped pre-qualifying our leads. Like, I stopped, having that happen, because they could just go to our website and sign up for a phone or a Zoom consultation. And so it was like, we're just cycling people through, doing lots of those. So sometimes you get tire kickers and you got to make them kind of go away. So, the business model that we did was a little bit different in that regard. But yeah, we would just, as soon as we finished that, we would then put them in the no sale if they didn't sell. But many were selling, but that's the thing. I guess I'm getting at, a lot of dog trainers get really hyper focused on their conversion rates. And it's like, well, if I can cycle through and do 50 consultations in a week, then I'll just, my conversion rate will probably be lower, but in the end, I'm going to make more money because I'm getting more people through. So when we're like, oh, I have to have a receptionist pre-qualify my leads, sometimes we get a little bit like, oh, my conversion rates if I don't have that person. So don't get so hung up on it because the more consultations you can get through, the more money you're going to make in the long run. And that's what we saw anyway.
Right. But so let's say I'm closing 70% of the people that I get in front of, but 30% I'm not closing, right? So what you're saying is that with this follow-up sequence, some percentage of that 30% is now going to close, whereas they wouldn't otherwise.
Yes, and we do track it. Don't, we have like a post sale tag that would get added. So we know
Right.
that they came in and they sold post consultation. They didn't sell right then and there. And so that is definitely something that we're tracking to show that that effort is working and that's a biggie.
Right, right. Yeah, and some of you may be thinking this, I need to get some leads before I even, but having these systems in place so that 6 months, a year down the road, as you start to grow, as you start to bring in additional people into your company, other trainers, other whatever it may be, you're able to look at these numbers, have it all in front of you, and know exactly what's going on in your business. Super, super important. So, listen, is there anything else that you'd like to add before we kind of wrap this up?
I guess the only thing I wanted to add was, when I mentioned like how, we train you on our system like you would train a dog and that's for everybody that has a business. Like I think it was like I don't know, Rodney Dangerfield or something made a joke one day or something. It was like treat your business like your baby. So my advice is treat your business like your puppy.
Yeah.
And, feed it leads, feed it, do some ads, get those leads coming in, nurture training and education, making yourself the best trainer you can be. So yeah, look at your business like it's your puppy and really like um, be all in for your business.
I really, really should have a Rodney Dangerfield joke just like on deck
I love
because he's
him.
probably my favorite comedian, yeah, of all time.
Yeah.
But I don't. So I'm gonna leave you with that.
Next
Folks,
time we'll start with that.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm Adam Katz for DogTrainerToolbox.com as well as the Dog Trainer Marketing Group on Facebook. Feel free to check us out and join. It is free to join, and you'll be amongst over, I want to say 5,100 other professional dog training business owners swapping secret strategies, tactics, and tips on how to grow your dog training business. We've got some real heavy hitters in there. Everything from guys making over $2 million a year with their dog training business or more, and other people who are just starting out. So it's a really good platform and there's minimal nonsense because I rule it with an iron fist. Um, check us out, and if you want to get in touch with Lianne, you find her through dogtrainertoolbox.com. We'll talk to you soon, guys. Leanne, can't thank you enough. Take care.
Thanks, Adam.